Welcome to the Solution Seekers podcast, where we uncover the future of bringing people together through the eyes of industry leaders. We love these conversations and hope you will too. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Solution Seekers podcast. I'm your host, Paige Buck. Past guests include Megan Hull of Technology Marketing Toolkit, Heather Mason, CEO and founder of Caspian Agency, and Meg Fazy, founder of Events Gig and Phase Forward. And today I am delighted to be speaking with Carlin Putman. Carlin has spent the majority of her 23 plus year career with AIG, a top Fortune 100 company, as a financial and corporate event specialist, starting as a junior meeting professional and working her way up to director of meetings and events. Carlin founded Page One Meetings and Events, LLC, and brings her meeting and event expertise to nonprofit work for special causes in the Houston area, other project and contract work, and on-site support services. And I'm sure that's not all, and we'll learn about it today. Before we get started, today's episode is brought to you by Kennedy Events. Kennedy Events creates stress-free conferences and events, providing expert management and design for all your corporate event needs, from in-person to hybrid and virtual. You can learn more about us at kennedyevents.com. Hi, Carlin. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
So people got a little taste of it when I was reading your bio, but how did you get started in events?
I was fresh out of college at University of Texas, and someone took a chance on me. It was just somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and heard that this position was opening, and I was looking for either a PR position out of college or a meetings and events position. I was currently working at Dell Computers. That lasted about 6 months, and I was done. And so I transitioned into meetings and events at AIG. At the time, it was American General Financial Group. And it obviously has transitioned over the past 23 years into many different forms and names. And I just, I loved what I was doing. I hit the ground running, and I was doing admin kind of work, junior planning work, learning from the best of the best in the industry. And that this is where I stayed, and I still am. So I like it.
And what did that look like inside, what I imagine has become, if it wasn't always, a massive company, work inside a large company and inside a department and inside a team can look a lot different than agency work. And I know ultimately you were leading and managing a team. Tell us a little about what that looked like.
Well, managing a team, obviously, I mean, it was, I really enjoyed it. We became work family, because you're on the road together, you're bleeding from the fingers, stuffing name badges together, and packets, and incentive program packets, and educational conferences. And, sometimes you have a nice budget, sometimes you don't, and you have to kind of make it work. And so you come up with collaborative ideas. And, we spent, we will do holidays together. We would do, birthdays together, and they really became like a part of my family, not just a coworker, but people that I still talk to all the time that I haven't worked with for years. I still open my phone and call and say, hey, how you doing? What are you working on? And just, it's a friendship. So that was great, because I never really felt that a strain with a lot of people with regards to the friendship versus the coworker thing. Now that as a manager, obviously you sometimes had to like put your big girl pants on and you bring them into the office just to talk about stuff. But overall, I think I had a really great group of people that worked for me and under me, and I'm still friends with them today. So it's great.
You mentioned that sometimes you have a big budget and sometimes you don't.
Oh.
How much of your role did you have, were you called upon to advocate for or justify, like, we need this over here in order to be successful?
Yes, absolutely. I want to say that in the role that I had with the financial education sector, I had a direct line to the CEO. I know a lot of companies are built differently, and sometimes some planners never actually even get to meet the CEO until they're walking up on stage and they're miking him up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I luckily had I had the executives, in front line I was with them. I was called to the table. I got a seat at the table. And I made that happen because I wanted to make sure that I had great relationships with all these people. They understood what I was bringing and they accepted my decision making, versus me just being an order taker, which a lot of times this happens where people with the meeting planning becomes an order taker situation. I was a decision maker, and I would present to them, let's say, here are the two decisions, here are the two places we're going to go. Which one do you like better? I like this because of A, B, and C. I like this one because of, X, Y, and Z. And they would be like, what do you think, Carlin? And I said, well, I really think this is better. This fits our budget better. We're going to have more impact with this location or destination. And so that was great. It was thrilling. I loved that part of my job, and that they had full trust in me on making those decisions. So
Nice. Yeah, that's probably a pretty rare thing.
I know.
Corporations
which is why I'm my own boss now.
Yes. So let's talk about that. What led you to found Page One Events, and what are you embarking upon?
Really it was, I was kind of getting burnt out, probably in my probably like 18th year or something like that or so. And my kids were, I guess, like close to 3 and 4 at the time. And I was working 80 hours, 90 hours a week, traveling a whole lot. And I felt like I was missing out on a lot of their growing up. And so I founded this LLC just to have as if anything happened, I mean, I lived through the financial crisis with AIG, and we all know what happened with the AIG effect. I lived it,
Yeah.
So I lived the AIG effect in big ways. And so, know Bob Ben-Moshe very well. Wonderful, wonderful guy. God rest his soul. But it was, I think I just wanted something that I could fall back on in the event something else happened, or another straw like fell. So I did some stuff with charity work with it, around the Houston area. I did some trip directing, some on-site meeting support for a couple other companies. And I really didn't use it until this year, where I'm kind of like coming out of my shell and like presenting Page One as my company, for, contract work as needed, and trip directing and on-site support. And just kind of just leveraging my knowledge of 23 years of experience and my seasoned tenure, and hopefully, that people understand that, you put me on the desk, that I'm not going to disappoint you.
Yeah.
So I founded it because it was really just kind of a safety net. I had my cards all made up, and then I just sat on them for so long. And then now that I'm away from the corporate world, I'm excited to be representing myself under my own umbrella. So,
well, congratulations. You said it's exciting. What else has it felt like over the last months as you've like settled into this new?
what I'm doing right now is kind of planting. I'm going to some of these IMEX conferences and site conferences, and I'm kind of planting the seeds now, before the holidays occur. And then I'm hoping that those germinate within the first or second quarter of next year, some leads. So really right now I'm kind of in the networking position, doing some kind of like help assisting, kind of back of the house kind of stuff. If they need help with like a site program, like I did assist one of my friends who was chair of Site Southeast, and he's like, I have all this stuff going on. I was like, hey, I'll come and help you. Like, I'll be your on-site support system and your assistant. And he's like, well, I can't afford you. And I went, my time, my dime. I'll help you at any time. And so he was like, what? And so I said, yeah. So I went up and I helped with the conference, and just did some, basic meeting planner stuff, and walking people from here to there, and advancing dinner locations there and there, and getting some really great education and CEU credits at the same time. So for my CMP. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having just been to both of those events, what observations do you have about like the horizon, like the future of the industry overall? What's exciting you?
I mean, what's exciting me, I think, is that I see a lot of more people like me kind of coming out of the fold, where I think corporations, I think in the next year are going to take a turn. I think that a lot of people are going to start going contract to keep them off their P&R. And so I think there's going to be a lot more people like me out there coming out of the woodwork in the next, probably, I'm going to say, let's say 12 to 24 months, is my outlook, because I can kind of see it happening with all the different, especially being in the financial sector. I can kind of see it happening in a lot of the different organizations, being a member of FICP and being friends with a lot of these planners that are in the financial insurance sector. I see that, and I know in different markets that's happening as well. So I think that a lot of people, when they started to centralize, and now I think now they're kind of like, they're centralizing, but they're bringing in outside support and versus having an internal actual employee department. So we'll see how that works. That's just my vision. That's just my, like, I'm just like my magic 8 ball for a situation. My magic 8 ball right here.
Oh, which you have. Let's see it. All right, let's ask the magic 8 ball a question. What should we ask it?
What should we ask? I don't know. What do you think?
Will 2024 be a
2024
great year for Page
Yeah.
One events?
Let's see. Is 2024 going to be a great year? It is decidedly so.
Woohoo! I like it. I'll take it.
I carry that 8 ball everywhere.
I want that for you. You're gonna manifest. Amazing. In all of the years that you've been doing this,
Yeah.
I'm curious about like a big pitfall or mistake or a nightmare story, those ones that we like to tell ourselves over drinks. Share one of those.
This is the best one ever.
Oh, please.
Okay. So I had a incentive program for, I guess it was like 500 or so people. It was a, the advisors won the trip to Montreal, and I planned it around the jazz festival that they have locally in Montreal every year. And there's I want to say like stages all over the city with different forms of entertainment everywhere, and it's free. So I didn't have to pay for any of that, right? So people could go out at night.
Experience they're having.
Yeah, they could go out at night, and it was great. And we had obviously we had the like the fun tours and wine tours and the waterfall tours and the historical tours and the museums. Just are amazing there, right? And so I had the speaker, and I can't believe I forgot his name though. It's the guy who stole all the money. He was the movie. I should have had this written down. He's the one that Leonardo DiCaprio played.
I was just going to say, is that Catch Me If You Can?
Yes, Catch Me If You Can. So he was stopped at the border in Canada and not allowed access into the country, even though my speaker bureau swore that he was all good. So for I don't know how many hours, so we had our welcome reception going on at the time at this beautiful venue, and I was on the phone in the staff office with my speaker bureau. I want to say we went through like 1,000 different scenarios, and we would I was calling people, he was calling people. We finally found a speaker and who had his own private jet.
Oh my gosh.
Not his own plane. He flew from, I think it was Virginia or something like that, up to Canada. He had flew somewhere else. He had his passport. His passport was somewhere else.
Oh my gosh.
And then flew to Montreal. And he got there, I want to say he got there like an hour before my general session was about to start. And can I just tell you, I did not tell my CEO or my national sales manager until like probably after the party was over. It was getting close to like 11 at night, and and he's not nervous kind of guy, and I was just okay. This is what's happening. I'm gonna make it work. We're gonna make this right. If it doesn't work, we're gonna find something. We're gonna ask one of your top advisors to do like a panel or something. I mean, I had so many different sort of things going on in my head. So this guy comes out, and of course I didn't write the name down, but he talks about this it's like an Aztec sort of diet. He wrote multiple books, and it was the seeds or something, sort of like chia seeds. And he was so dynamic, and he sat down. We moved him into like a little side room. He just like, okay, so tell me about your company, blah, 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 and I rolled down. I met with the CEO, and he met with the national sales manager. And he went in there and he delivered like one of the best, like it was amazing. People were up in like clapping, standing ovation sort of
Amazing.
situation. And I want to say that my national sales manager, they would always be like, remember that time that Carlin, speaker, got stopped at the border at midnight the night before he was supposed to go on, and she
we got that other guy,
a random speaker, and it was like, but I was sweating. I don't think I slept all night long, and I was at the front door greeting him at the Fairmont in Montreal, and he was just a godsend, and it went off without. It went off without a hitch. He was wonderful. Everyone was so impressed by him. So,
but I hope they were equally impressed by you pulling him.
I pulled it,
rabbit out of a hat.
Yes, they were like, "How did you do that?" I go, I don't know. I think I might have cried a little.
Yeah. Just a little.
And convinced the speaker bureau that if he didn't make this happen, that I don't know. It was just. I was that desperate, I had that desperation in my voice, and we were calling people in New York, the closest people, anyone in Canada, anyone, and we found this guy, and he was amazing with that Aztec diet, and actually there's people like who took the diet after the meeting and lost a lot of weight on it. So
incredible. That's a great story, and it reminded me of the time, long time ago, when California Governor Newsom was still San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
And even then he had quite a high profile. We took a group of business people from San Francisco to San Diego. We used to take an annual like public policy trip, and one of their like tours and social things, not like the business learning part of it, was, the San Diego Zoo is iconic. And we had an evening reception there that was preceded by a little open air bus tour of the exhibits after closing. So there's no other guests there in the zoo. And of course, the panda enclosure is famous. Well, we are hanging out at the panda enclosure forever because Mayor Newsom is our surprise guest who's supposed to be flying down to meet us and is stalled somewhere in traffic. The plane hasn't landed, whatever. And I'm in the back of the bus on my cell phone trying to make it happen, but also trying not to let any of our guests know who I'm talking to his people. And then everyone's like, okay, the pandas are nice, but I'm ready for a drink. Could we go to the reception? And we do. And he's just sitting there on the front porch, like, hi folks, like there's this outdoor area and people, and then they appreciated why we were stalled at the pandas for so long.
Right. Oh goodness. I have one more good one though.
Oh, do give it to me.
Okay. You remember the financial crisis, right?
Yes. Back in 08, 09, Enron, AIG. Yeah.
AIG, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm in San Diego at the Grand Del Mar, and I have another planner friend that was doing another program down at the famous Saturday Night Live comic. Remember how they made fun of us on Saturday Night Live? At the St. Regis Monarch Beach, and I'm at the Grand Del Mar. She's over there doing this program. I'm doing mine, and this was the news was just starting to trickle out. It wasn't really like for sure yet, and I just decided that I was going to rename my entire conference, and I didn't put out any signage. I just like had the hotel do it, and I changed. I mean, I was just like, I was expecting something big was happening, and
smart.
And I was terrified that people were gonna like see us at this hotel, right, and like say something, because I knew there was something going on, and so I pulled everything down, and like I think there was a couple like banquet people who saw my stuff, and they're like, aren't they gone now? Aren't they? Isn't that company gone now or something? And so we had our meeting, and lo and behold, the famous Monarch Beach St. Regis thing that happens down the street from my hotel happened, and I went under the radar, but that was scary, man. I mean, that was like a really hard time when we're trying to plan meetings, and you had to be so secretive.
Really, like most of the time, we really don't want our events to be making news in the way.
No,
not good.
We were completely under the radar. They had a good time, but a different kind of meetings and events company after that all happened, and
I bet.
we had to become pretty wise.
Yes, well, you were wise just to see that coming and make a
Yeah.
different choice. That's a good one. I like that very
That and the toilet paper I bought on boxed.com before the
for COVID.
for the COVID hit. I was like, my husband's in New York. He goes, something's happening. So I bought like 2 orders.
You foresaw the great.
I foresaw the toilet paper crisis.
Hilarious. You mentioned earlier the phrase and the whole field of trip directing. And this is where I always think people in this industry can work in it for decades and not realize all of the nuances and subcategories and subcategories that you can make a living in this industry. And that's just one. Tell me a little bit, or tell our audience a little bit, what trip directing looks like, what you like about it, and why it's critical to the success of some programs.
Well, I think, okay, so why I like trip directing is because I can show up and you can have your faith in me that you're going to give me, let's say, food and beverage and accounting. And I can go through your banquet event orders, be on the pre-con, meet with your captains, make sure that every event is executed correctly, that the labels are correct, the food is, all good to go, and any special needs are met. And it's just like I like to be like in touch with the audience and the people and the attendees that are there, and I can help those people that have special requests and all that stuff. But the accounting I love, and people think I'm a nerd, but I love accounting. So I like take the banquet orders and I make this whole spreadsheet, and and it just, at the end of the day at the meeting, I close out, I have all their checks, stapled to every single banquet event order, and I email them the sheet, and it has all their food and beverage costs, and in addition to all other fees in it. And then I go home and I'm done.
And you get to like close the book on it. Yeah.
And I go.
I like the gesture. For those who are listening and not watching, I like the gesture you just made of, it's like, and it's away I go.
Away I go. So, they reconcile, back at their own offices and do all that kind of stuff, where I'm on to the next project. Whereas as a planner, being in the planner position for 23 years, it's like, you're working on a project for years sometimes.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Whereas with trip directing, you show up, you get the the PO grid, and you get the budgets, and you get the PEOs and the flow, and the flows of the general sessions and all the events. And it's kind of it's to me it's awesome, because I get to see all these different types of events from all these different types of people, and see all the creativity that they bring to the table. And and also maybe give them a little heads up, or give them a little piece of information that maybe, hey, this would probably be a good thing for you to add, to make this event work better. Or maybe we should set it up this way to make it run smoother, like the buffet setup and all that kind of stuff when I'm doing the kind of walking through how everything's gone. And a lot of times a lot of these planners are short-staffed, very short-staffed.
Yes.
And so let's say you have 2 planners and they have a 700-person conference, and hiring trip directors that are seasoned and know the back of your hand, how to run these things. And it's helpful to them, because they know that they can focus on their CEO, they can focus, let's say, on the general session and the content and all that kind of stuff, and know that all the registration desks, the food and beverage, transportation, offsite events, venues, activities, there's all being taken care of, and they don't have to be in every single sector. They can stay in their lane. I will stay in my lane. This other trip director will stay in their lane, and we make it happen. We make magic happen. So
I love that. I mean, I think it sounds really rewarding, because you also get a chance to quickly prove and add value.
Yeah,
like
correct.
You're their lifesaver through this whole thing. Very intense final stages of this project.
Yes. And just, I know a lot of players out there who just, they don't have the support that a lot of these big companies have. So having trip directors like me, can support their on-site events, and they'll know that, nothing's going to be dropped, or no ball's going to be dropped on, on my watch. Yeah. And so that's why I really love it. And I love helping people, like I did at site, this past week was I was there just to kind of like be an on-site support person with this and this and this.
I
So
love it. I love it. I mean, we could probably, as we grow, we could probably use more people with that sort of expertise
yeah,
ourselves. Let
yeah,
us like step back and focus on the next thing.
yeah,
So
correct.
in the little bit of time that we have left, I'm curious, I want to ask you to tell me about someone you admire in this industry or in this profession.
Someone I admire was probably the person who hired me when I was straight out of college almost. At 20, I think I was 23 years old at the time. And it was Kelly Livers, and she currently works for Global Atlantic. She's in the financial insurance industry, but she was my boss. And she took a chance on me because I was just, 23 straight out of college with a business degree in marketing. I kind of like put my resume because I was always kind of a planner throughout growing up, just planning things just in general, whether it was a high school dance or whether it was a college. I was on the lacrosse team and I was president of lacrosse booster club. And so I played all the events for both women's and men's lacrosse teams, and also was in a sorority, which I did plan their annual like retreat. So
And
I was doing this for fun. Huh?
I was to say, being in a sorority in the South, that is like a full-time job.
Yeah, being in a sorority in the South in Texas is quite a job, and playing a
Yep.
sport at the same time
Gosh.
was interesting. But you gotta I mean, like meeting planning, you have to juggle the balls, right? You have multiple things.
With the lacrosse stick, like
lacrosse stick with the ball, and then I had my sorority duties, and then I had to make straight A's.
yes.
So yeah, so it was a great time, and I always did it for free. And then I found out leaving, at the end of the day with my counselor, I was like, I see all these meeting planner positions out here. What is, like, people get paid to do this?
What is that?
What is that? And I was like, yeah, because I was looking at PR and I was looking at marketing and all these different advertising and all this stuff, and had interviews with like newspapers and to sell advertising and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, meeting planning. And I saw this position open because somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody knows my mom. And she says, hey, I heard about this position that somebody knows about, and it happened to be like her accountant or something. And so she sent me the link, and I applied for it, met with Kelly Livers, and she was my mentor for years and taught me everything I know. So,
and is Kelly still with AIG, or is she?
No, she is with Global. She's with she's either with another Fortune 500 company or Fortune 100 company.
Got it.
But she moved into a different group under the financial and insurance umbrella. So, but I still talk to her all the time. We're still good friends, and so it's great. I mean, it's been almost 20, I was getting close to 24 years that I've known her. She has grandbabies and everything,
I love the community that you have of other people in the field. I think that's really admirable.
Absolutely.
Well, Carlin, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to close this out by saying I've been having the pleasure of talking with Carlin Putman, president and founder of Page One Events. And where can people learn more about you and your company?
Well, I mean, I'm in Houston. You can find me on LinkedIn under Carlin Putman, Putman. My contact information is on LinkedIn. So for now, that's probably the best course of action onto communicating with me once my website is up and running.
Oh, well, we will share your LinkedIn info in the show notes for this, and then you'll have to update all of us, and we'll push out an update when your website goes live. That's exciting.
Absolutely, I will. That's a work in progress right now. So hopefully I'll get it done after the holidays. So
amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.